And we had to cut some of those sections. Live stream, live on Facebook. Okay, it is, right?
Ready on
Okay.
Facebook. Yeah.
Okay, great. Because I clicked off of it. All right. Well, welcome to Thursday Coffee with Kristel. It's been a couple of weeks since I've actually done an actual live. Um, and some of it is due to what I'm going to be sharing about today. Give me one moment. I want to make sure it's recording also on. I'm going to trust it's also recording. I started recording to the cloud. Cancel. Okay, perfect. It's also recording on the cloud. Okay. I think I've already had half of this coffee, but it hasn't really had a major effect because I'm still going through those prompts. So welcome to Thursday Talk with Kristel. My throat is scratchy, so tune in as I share some interesting topics today. Some of it is surrounding a recent event in my life, and is the loss of my stepdaughter, Maya. And I'm not going to really talk about Maya and the process of my grief. I'm going to tie this into our talks about mortgage, real talk, and real solutions. But I definitely want to state that she's a very private person and lost her a couple of weeks ago. And yeah, I'm not going to go further because definitely tears are going to start coming through. So we're going to dive right into one sip of coffee. And as I said, this week has been very tender for me. I lost Maya, who's brought some thing into focus that most of us don't like to talk about. And even when my mother brings up getting ready for, my grandmother's 102 and even her casket and all those things, like, why are we talking about this? Like, why do you have to go in that conversation? And I get to actually talk about it now. What happens to the things that we leave behind, our home, our accounts, our responsibility, our legacy. So this is definitely inspired with new raw moments that I'm experiencing right now. So when somebody passes, whew, we're left with holding both emotional weight and the practical details. So, as you can tell, in the emotional weight, you still have to go ahead and take care of some of the practical details. Now, Maya was young girl, so there was not like estate and all those things, but it's still you, my clients, you, my friends on Facebook, the connections, the people that are listening to this message right now. You also have to bring some practicality, meaning make sure certain items are taken care of, even if the conversation is heavy. So this isn't again about Maya owning a home or her having to manage a estate. This is about how loss in general reminds us that life is unpredictable. The preparation is also an act of love. And as I say that, when I give my mother a hard time about prepping for it, I do not realize this is an act of love, taking care of things ahead just to ensure when the ones who are remaining on this lifetime that certain things are taken care of. So most of us, we overlook areas in how a home is titled. So we're going to talk about titling a property. Very often when somebody buys a house, like when I bought my first house as a single person, I had the title in my name. But what happens after fact? It goes into probate court. So I ended up adding um actually my mother to the title, and we have joint tenants. So if a property is owned as joint tenants with right of survivorship, the ownership immediately transferred to the surviving person. No court, no probate. So, but if the property is titled in tenants in common or any other way or single, that person's share goes through the estate, which can mean time, cost, and legal steps at the moment really full of emotion. So I'm just sharing this information with you, and I'm already, the weight of it is there. So imagine if you're having to do transfer of title, you want to make sure as much as possible some of those details are handled. And one simple one with your home, the ownership of your home is how you have it titled. Again, I'm not here to give legal advice. I encourage you to connect with an estate attorney or a trusted advisor. But I do want to say this: awareness is also love. Awareness is love. Awareness is love. Taking action is love towards some of those key simple things that we may not know about, that you may not know about. I often just do it for my clients when they are purchasing. I put the title in joint tenants because they don't really realize what that would mean. But I encourage you to go back at your deed, go back to the title of your home, and just look into, am I titled properly? Is there somebody who's going to receive this property if I were to pass or when I something happens? So although we're getting close to Halloween tomorrow, having documents in place and say, let's make sure that everything is in place, it is not a morbid action. It's an actually caring and ensuring that you're protecting the people you love from confusion and stress at a time where they need space to feel, as you can tell, but also to heal. So I want you to go ahead, don't wait until next week. Like, put something in your calendar this week, this weekend, if possible, even right now, if you're home. Go back and check your title. If you're not sure what it means, go ahead and look up for your documents, ask the closing attorney, connect with me if necessary. Again, I am not an expert in that field because I am not an estate attorney and I'm not an advisor when it comes to this field, but you want to go ahead and make sure everything is titled properly for your loved ones. So I share this with you with tenderness. Grief changes how we see everything, but I'll also invite us into a deeper clarity and compassion. And if you're not going through something right now, or you know somebody who is, on who's sick, and maybe there are some conversations to have had, now is the time, or even your loved ones who own properties or have properties, just having that conversation of making sure, how is your property titled? If you are not a homeowner, but you're looking to have a home ownership in the near future or at any point, make sure you remember this recording. Check how my property is titled before you sign or even after you sign, so you are ensuring your loved ones are taken care of. Okay. As you know, I take a sip of coffee just to do in between topics. This is still going to be around the same conversation. Give me 1 second. Okay. Now, I want to talk about mortgage insurance. When somebody thinks of insurance and mortgage insurance, what it means versus a life insurance and why it matters. So a lot of people don't realize until it's too late that mortgage insurance, even though I say it's so much going on when you're purchasing a house. So at first, so many terms are new, may just be like a lot of mumbo jumbo and they're just like conversations like over your head. But now is the time that I want to again emphasize mortgage insurance is not life insurance. It is something, if something happens to you, the mortgage insurance doesn't protect your family. Mortgage insurance is in case for a lender, in case of default, we as a lender, so the investor who owns the loan, who holds the loan, is basically has insurance in case you do not pay. You go into foreclosures, things of that nature. A lot of people when they have 20% down, there is no mortgage insurance, right? So mortgage insurance again doesn't protect you. So I really want to make sure you understand mortgage insurance called PMI, MIP protects the lender, not your family. So it exists to ensure the lender risk is put at less when you put less money down. It is to pay off. It is not to pay off the mortgage if something happens to you. It is again to protect the lender. If you passed away, your family is still responsible for the mortgage. On the other hand, a life insurance where there are different types that you want to go ahead and connect with a trusted advisor, an insurance provider. It can be set up to pay off the home entirely or provide monthly support so the loved ones can stay in the home. It also allows you to have to grieve without the fear of losing your home and give you extra safety net. So although they sound very similar, protection is really taking the time to ensuring you have the adequate amount to protect your family. So I'm not here to tell you which type to get. You get to analyze that with your trusted advisor or what type of policy. That's something you do with, again, a licensed insurance agent. But I just want to bring awareness of the distinctions because you know that in your monthly payment, you have some kind of insurance, you have your hazard, you have your mortgage. Those are not protecting you. So go ahead and book a call right now with a trusted advisor. If you do not know one, reach out to me. I will connect you. I have amazing friends and professionals who can help you and answer your questions. Once you start the process, don't delay it saying, well, it's an extra expense. It is an expense that protects you if something happens unexpectedly, and you will love your loved ones to still have the home and not be stressed about what's going to happen now. Um, yeah. Put your questions about this, reach out to me. Um, again, connections, clarification on what that is. And again, I share this with you with a tender heart because grief reminds us of what matters the most. And preparation can be one of the greatest expressions of love we can leave behind. Okay. This is my other topic coming your way. Getting the paperwork together of you know, really getting everything in order is very important. So it's from my experience when my mother keeps on bringing it up, I'm like, do we have to go into this conversation? Well, obviously we do, Kristel. So obviously you do too. Um, to be prepared, not out of fear, but really out of care. The practical side of life, beneficiaries, wills, trust, power of attorney, it is not cold to go into that practical. It's one of the most profound acts of love. It basically says, if I cannot speak for myself, my love will speak for me. So with you having a will in place, all of the paperwork in place, I am super grateful knowing that my mother already has that in place. Um, it really shows ahead of time you are taking care of some of those practical items. So when life changes, unexpected loss, we go into panic. Taking care of some of this paperwork prevents you from going to panic. You know your loved ones are taken care of with the life insurance, with the paperwork, and allow them to grieve with more peace. Now, another aspect that I want to talk about grief. Some people remain attached to the home and some is too much. So I want to talk about something that's real. For instance, for me, grief has a lot showed up in relationships with an ex-husband, a former partner, where I'm having to grieve the loss of a relationship. So a loss is a person who passed, a divorce, a change in area. It's like you're losing what's familiar, what your everyday is, and you're having to basically start over. And some of it can be heavy, like a divorce, a loss. So it's not because the home is bad, but because life has changed, you sometimes decide you want to make a change. So again, this week is reminding me how deeply our environment holds memory. A home is not just walls or roof. It holds laughter, routine, history, identity, and sometimes loss. Even me coming back home to the Caribbean right now for the next couple of days from bearing my stepdaughter Maya, the memories are still present when she came last year. We ate at Olive Garden when she was growing up. So going to Olive Garden, like some of those memories are coming back. It's like remembering because we move through life very quickly at times because things are quick. But then when you experience the loss, the memories come back. Wow, you remember this. Like we go back into memory. And that takes time. And we get to be in that space and be okay with reliving some of those moments. And it might be joy, they might bring sadness. And it's a period of time that I feel that we get to, I basically, I'll speak for myself, get to cherish those moments. Some of them have brought tears, some of them have brought smiles, some of them have felt sorrow of like, wow, she won't be able to experience this again in this way that I've used to experience it with her. So when life shifts, whether it's the grief of divorce or children leaving the home, personal growth, the space can sometimes start to feel too big, too quiet. too simple. So just totally not aligned with who we are becoming at some stages of that grief. So I want you to know that noticing this doesn't mean you are abandoning your past. It means you are listening to your present moment when you get to that stage. So I've worked with so many people who have reached this moment and they look around and they say, this house doesn't feel like mine anymore. Not because the home has changed, but because they have changed, because I have changed. I've had to change my environment. And some of you have seen my journey. I've traveled to other parts of the world. I've traveled parts of the US because things have changed. And then, it's really re-emerging in due time, of course. So what happens is there are options. Some people decide to downsize to just have things a little bit simpler. That was my case. Downside, downsizing, I said side, downsizing, to just really live, not necessarily out of my suitcase, but what we call minimal lifestyle, minimalist lifestyle. Some move closer to family or to a specific community. I very much encourage that when somebody is going through a divorce, that you now redefine what your community is and moving into that space. For me, it was moving closer to the ocean because I had lived and was raised in the Caribbean, moved to Atlanta, landlocked, and I needed to move back closer to the ocean. So you realign with who you probably were and kind of let go of in order to be in a family environment, your spouse, your children. And now this is an opportunity, not as forgetting again the past, but more of realigning with who we're becoming. So and some also choose a home that feels emotionally lighter or easier to maintain because of age, because of whatever milestones we have reached into our life. So some also turn their home into a rental and letting that become a stepping stone instead of a weight. So you don't necessarily have to sell the property. You can go ahead and keep it as a rental and move into a different environment that you can still breathe. You can still move forward in life. We're keeping alive the memory of our loved ones. So again, there is no right or wrong. There's only what supports you now. Right now, it is for me, for instance, very raw, right? And again, I'm Maya's stepmother. So for someone who basically she lived at her mom's house, her dad's house, those are different stages that they're going to take for themselves versus I did. So you get to look, not right or wrong, but you get to look into your life and prep for it because you don't want to just be eventually life continues, right? With the amazing memories, we get to move forward. So letting go of a home is not letting go of the memories. It's saying, I deserve a space that matches the person I am today. Your healing, your peace, your energy, all of that also matters. Okay, now this definitely my conversation right now bleeds into the stages of grief. When is the right time? You get to decide that. I highly encourage anyone who's going through grief to have conversations with either people from their spiritual realm, their friends, but really experts, because grief is one to not just to share the sorrow, but it's also have someone to uplift you because you want to go ahead and continue living. And for me, it's really remembering Maya in such a gentle, loving way. So that is, everybody's way is different, but I'm just sharing from my perspective. This is, like I said, still very raw for me. So your home should really not feel like a container for life. It's a place where it feels, another place like it feels like you, let me say this again. Your home should feel like a container for your life, another place where life feels paused. If your home feels like it belongs to a past version of you, it's okay to choose something new. That choice can be an act of love for yourself. Now, I do know I keep hearing as I'm saying this, yes, but some people, because I recently saw a movie, they don't want to go ahead and let go of that house. And that's totally okay. I'm referring to those who are questioning, asking themselves, do I move forward? Does that mean I'm forgetting? No, everybody is where they at in their stages of life. This is from my perspective of an opportunity to or possibility as we go through the healing and stages of grief, that it is okay to give yourself permission to even love the memory of the person even more, not in the sorrow, but the amazing life, the celebration of their life by continuing yours as well. What else do I want to share? Well, really, this is what I wanted to share with you. Be in conversation with those who are able to listen to you from a place of love, understanding, and patience, because loss is also patience. Loss is also um, a new becoming, because there is a transition that takes place. So I'm going to take another pause because, as you know, I've been practicing where I have some topics I want to cover. And then this last part is where I allow myself to get connected even deeper with the present moment, the energy of now. So there goes my cup of coffee as a transition for deep breath, a pause, and allowing this sacred moment to let my voice be heard, my message beyond what's already been shared. Mm. So what's coming up for me right now is me coming on the live and sharing about a loss, which is private, and also a place of how can I inspire? Because my heart is about inspiring, connecting, and loving. So if I were to just come on live, excuse me, and only share about mortgage and fun trips, that wouldn't really be my authentic life. Because there are other moments that are raw, that are with tears. And this is definitely one of them. Um, I met Maya when she was 4 years old, as I was entertaining the idea of dating her father. And the relationship was one of learning how to love a child who's like, I have a mother, you're not. I think also with cartoons, we have this idea what a stepmother is. The evil stepmother. The stepmother that just like Cinderella is going to make you do the chores. I got her to do the chores, but it was really to be in community. Community is so many places, it's not just the outside. It's at home, it's a community, right? It's the family community, family unit. So yes, she had chores, but I wasn't the evil stepmom, even though at times she feels like it wasn't too safe to be around Kristel because I can lose, I can go into the fight and when we say our nervous system goes into fight and fly, mine can be in the fighting and I can fly too. So I do a little bit of combination of both. So I appreciate, even though it was very challenging when her and we had those heart to heart talks, but I'm so, so grateful that I got to the place for myself where I allow others to come and share with me how I make them feel. Because they very often say, it's not so much all that you say, it's the presence that you live, how you show up for someone and the memory that they have about you, how you make them feel in your presence. And in my journey, I'm about to be 50, I've had to, I've gotten the opportunity through relationships to realize I really want people to feel safe around me. Safe in the sense of sharing what they want to say. Doesn't mean with Maya, I always had the best response system. I was just, oh, okay, great. Well, I'm glad we're talking about it. No, I've had tears. I've had those raw moments and say, but I did my best type of moments. So it's like that relationship and knowing that I'm coming from and you're coming from an intention. What is your intention? Maya has gotten to know my heart, and my heart has been to love her. And even in this human experience, it hasn't always been the easiest for all of us, right? We have life experiences. But she's trusted that with time, she's realized where I was coming from. And in my last conversations with her in the last couple of years, we've come to the place of forgiveness. Me forgiving her, her forgiving me, us forgiving each other. And forgiveness comes into a lot of times, well, I did something wrong. Well, it's not always about doing something wrong. It's how we let the person make the person feel, even if it might have been the right action, but that person did not feel it. So I ask her to forgive me for how I behaved. Some of it was programs based on my childhood. Some of it was programmed based on how I was raised. Some of it was just who I was at that moment. Moments where her dad and I were having challenges because the market crashed and we were just like in 2008, what are we going to do? I was just like in a furry, and right now with everything going on, like a lot of families are experiencing the heaviness of everyday life, so children are also experiencing it. I am not one to say shelter your kids from that. I am one to teach them from that moment, from the everything that's happening, from the conversations, the hurt and all that, because that helps them grow, that helps them cope. Because when we shelter too much, then when they are facing their own challenges, they might not know how to actually face them. They might feel like failure is such a bad thing when I call it failing forward. So you're falling, but you get back up. I am definitely a person of resistance. I'm definitely a person from my lineage of my grandmother 102 of like we fall down and we come back up. But I am so grateful that I had the opportunity to share all this with Maya, that she had an opportunity to experience my family as well as her family, direct bloodline, but also me as a stepmother to her, as was said in her obituary, a bonus mother. In French, it was translated also as Spanish, corazón, like a heart mother. And I take that, as you can see the live right here on the left, like the hearts, like I really want to come from that. So I can let go of the stepmother and all those titles that were given when you come into relationship with a parent. And she gave me so many titles because she was trying to understand what the relationship was like. It wasn't easy for her to have had different divorced parents, and then her dad and I were divorced as well. And I'm coming back to that gratitude that her and I, our ups and downs were one of many lessons for myself, but also for her in our tender conversations where she shared how it made her feel, and it helped me heal the inner child in me, the little Kristel, who also had some of those experiences with her own parents who were divorced. So those type of conversations are not easy to have, but they must. Okay, you don't have to do anything, but it's a great opportunity. So I to think you are in a healing journey, you must have those difficult conversations. Otherwise, they are still in the background, in your subconscious mind, controlling some aspects of your life. But then I was at peace, sad, a lot of sorrow, a lot of, all that we feel when somebody goes. But I was so grateful to know I had those conversations. I had those moments of, I am sorry. Please forgive me. I thank you and I love you. This is part of what's called Oponopono, and it comes up right now. Look it up. Sometimes, even if the person is no longer alive or we're not in a relationship with the person, you can take those moments. Maya, I'm sorry that you had such pain in this life. Please forgive me if I was a part of that pain. I thank you for the opportunity in the relationship. I love you. And I cherish all those moments that you will come back to my memories as love, as a little girl who gave me the opportunity to be the role that I played in your life, but also taught me at your age of 4 years old. How can you have an intention of unconditional love when you don't quite feel it? How can you still hold that intention and get to the end of that person's life and feel like, oh my gosh, I actually achieved that? An unconditional love for this child and an unconditional love towards that relationship. So, as I said, I wasn't sure. I didn't really want to go much into detail, but it's really my experience of love in so many shades, so many ways. But take the time to speak with your loved ones, go into the rawness of it. Might want to take a few deep breaths before that conversation. You may hang up on each other, but it's perfect because some of this needs to be said, whatever that is between you and that person. You may not want to have that conversation. You may want to just write, which, by the way, as an energy practitioner, there are different timelines, different moments that the energy is potent for certain things. And I was reminded yesterday that tomorrow being Halloween, I'm not a person to have Halloween parties or those things. I did do the American culture part of it. I'm actually a little bit upset that we brought this in the French system. Like that is not our holiday. But fine, the kids have fun. I actually asked my nephew, my cousin, why do you want to do Halloween? Well, I want candy. Like, okay, so he sees it more for the candy, but there are so many meanings behind it or energies behind it. So be careful with that energy. But it is definitely an amazing opportunity to write that letter if you don't have the ability to speak to the person or the courage or just ability right now. Write the letter of release of anger, frustrations, pain towards your mother, your father, your loved ones, your partners that you've had in your life. Really a time to put it down on paper, not just rehashing it in your head. Take it from your head, your brain, your heart, your cells, and writing it down. I have three that I was assigned to do by my one of my teachers. So I'm excited to be doing those with you because we are going to burn them. So this is a release letter, a letter of pouring your heart out to others that maybe there's still tension and being okay with it. When I say being okay with it, being okay that you write the letter and you get to burn it and open to the new possibility. If you're a person who prays, maybe the prayer will be, may this letter release from me all that is no longer serving, and may the other person receive my love by me having that intention to love unconditionally. So tomorrow being Halloween is a great time to have already that letter or write it by tomorrow and burn it because it goes back into ashes. Basically, you're releasing it and opening your heart. You see all the smiles and hearts right here, opening yourself in your heart to the possibilities without holding on to, well, yes, but. You know how we say, I love you, but if you did the dishes, that would be awesome. No, that is a condition. I love you, and doing the dishes would be great, but you're not putting a condition. So again, I will leave you with this. Loss and grief are moments of reflection. It's not just a death. It could be like right now, letting go, the death of um, the feelings that we've attached to, held on for being righteous about how I feel about something, when in the end, it all comes back to one thing: loving ourselves, loving others, and sending love to the community, sending love to all that we may know, not know, connected to or not connected, just really sending some love from our heart. And I thank you for listening to me with grace, as this is definitely from unscripted, just really coming here. Not sure what would come through, and I trust this brought some inspiration, some actions from what I shared before when it comes to home ownership and having a loss, some of the hard things that we may do, but it's not that hard when we know it's coming from an act of love, of making sure we have a will, we have the title of our properties under the right title to make it easy for our loved ones. That's actually an act of love. I get to hug my mom now about it because I gave her such a hard time when she's been working on it. And also stay tuned as I have a recording from a gentleman who shares different things to be aware of when we have to prepare for a loss, predicted because of an illness or unpredicted. Expected is actually the better word. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you. Much love.